everybody, welcome to the Fire It Up with CJ show, and we have something to celebrate. We have Linda Howe here, and we're celebrating the 10th year anniversary of her book, How to Read the Akashic Records. Can you hold up the book?
Of course.
How to Read the Akashic Records, Accessing the Archive of the Soul and Its Journey. Oh, your baby's 10 years old.
How did that happen? How did that happen?
How does it feel?
Well,
did you ever think that you'd be on this journey?
I didn't, here's the truth. First of all, when I wrote this, I had no idea. When it got published, I had no idea. Who knew? I mean, this isn't something the conscious mind plans for, that it's going to be 10 years. And then it turns out that not only it's the first book in a series, right?
Yes. You never thought you'd write a series, right?
I never thought I'd write a series. But the other thing that's so exciting to me is I realize that what has been launched with this book is not just a method. Mm-hmm. And there's a method there. Yeah. But a real movement. Because, see, when this book first came out, there was nothing on Amazon. Nothing. You could go to Amazon. There was nothing on the Akashic Records. This actually was the first book ever put out in the world that gave instruction, right? Instructions, how to engage in the Akashic Record for personal use, personal growth, and transformation, that talked about the nature of the record, the organization, how things work, what's available, what's not available. This had never been done. And now, if you go to Amazon today, I mean, it's an avalanche
of books on Akashic Record.
Books on the Akashic Record. And, some are good, and some are simply just ridiculous. All right, don't get me started. But see, what's really exciting to me is that we're 10 years into this, and this book is still as pertinent today for anybody who wants a more conscious connection with their soul. It's just as valuable now as it was then. Mm-hmm. And that is something, who knew, right? I had no idea, and I am just... I am thrilled, I'm honored, and because I'm myself, I think, oh, well, okay, that's a good start, but, we have a lot to do. Right?
So do you feel like your mission is to spread the understanding of the Akashic? Like, what is your personal mission in all of this?
My personal mission, I love that question. My personal mission is to offer people the opportunity to have a more conscious connection with their own soul, right? Distinguishing spirituality from superstition and helping people find their way with the light that has already and always been within, right? In a conscious, responsible, and deliberate way, separate from religion, separate from dogma, separate from institution. So the idea with the work is, you don't have to join anything. You're it.
Right.
But it's actually true. You are it. And so my mission is to really give people the tools and the opportunity, right, to find their way using this. I remember for many years, and it still happens, truth be told, for many years, my friends would say things to me like, oh my God, I'd be, fretting, a lot of angst. Oh, what about this? What about that? And my friends would say, the truth's within. Well, I know that.
Right.
You know that. We all know that. The question is, how do I get to it? Right? And that's, do you see, how do I get there? I need a jackhammer, right?
Right.
To drill down. But see, in 2001, I got this prayer, the Pathway prayer process that connects us with the heart of the record, which was really very revolutionary at the time.
How did you even get the prayer?
Oh, this is so, well, so here was the thing. I had been working in the record in the sacred prayer tradition using a prayer that it was fine. It was fine, but it was not congruent with my values. Okay. And so I had been really praying, like, help, right? Because what I found is that there was a lot of superstition, a lot of hoping that if we worked in the records, we would develop supernatural powers. We would have to be human beings, all this kind of stuff, right?
Right.
And it was like, it's a lot of fun. Not very helpful, but lots of fun. Anyway, so my real prayer was there has to be a way for mere mortals to make a connection, not only with information. Information's great, but really heartfelt wisdom, compassion, energy, the life force. There has to be a way to do that. So that had been my prayer. And in 2001, actually, it was interesting. It was right before 9/11. It was the Saturday before 9/11. This was crazy. Yeah. I'm at my kitchen table, and I'm in my records. I'm crying. I'm praying. I'm like, I want to know what's the divine will for me, and I want,
Yeah.
Anyway.
I've been there.
And I get, right, we all have, and I get, make the records available to anyone who wants them. I'm like, oh, go find someone else. This is just way too. I'm like, really, I don't think I can do this, right? Whatever it is, whatever. So anyway, and my guidance was just write this down. I thought, this is so hokey. So I wrote it down. Turns out it's the pathway prayer process. That was 2001. And since then, right, it's now 2019. I'm teaching all over the world. We have people, the prayer has been translated into many, many languages. It is just making a difference in people's lives in ways that I didn't even know was possible.
Right. You found the key, and you shared the key with everyone so that they can find their own records by themselves without, getting an Akashic record reader, even though I'm sure that's a wonderful thing. I just had an Akashic reading. It was beautiful. I don't know if I could have accessed the same thing. I don't know.
Well, see, this is interesting because on the path, and you know this, on the path, there are some parts of our journey that we must do on our own. And nobody can do it for us. We can't, it's just not going to happen. Right. And there are other times when we really need, and that's when we work in our own record. It's great. And then there are times when we really need the perspective of someone who's ahead of us in certain ways. Somebody who's a little further down the path. The fact is we are interdependent creatures. If we were supposed to do it all alone, well, there'd only be one of us here. So part of spiritual maturity is when we recognize, oh, this is the part I get to do on my own, right? And there are other times it's like, I can't do this on my own. It's time to ask for help. And it's knowing that, right? Because this is a very fluid process that we're in.
Right. So do you go to a different person when you're like, okay, I've hit my limits?
Oh, when I hit the wall, yes.
And you go to and you have now a whole litany of people who've been trained by your process.
Right.
So do you hear when you hear different Akashic readings, or it's going to have to be, I assume, it's going to be somewhat interpreted by the person who's giving it. Is that true? Or
well, of course.
So then, so you could hear three different versions. No,
the message will be the same.
It will.
Here's the thing: if I'm standing on the corner and a red car comes by, and I've been standing on the corner watching cars for 25 years. I'm going to be able to, right? I'm like, oh, here comes a red car. And I will be able to describe and share and understand. Because, see, I've been watching traffic for a long time. Somebody else shows up. It's their first time on the corner. And I say, listen, I'm wondering about red cars. They will they recognize a red car? Sure they will. But the way they perceive it, their understanding, their interpretation will be absolutely, we can only see through who we are. It's the law. But see, here's the other principle. Let's say this person, it's their first time on the corner. But see, if I ask that person for help, it is because somewhere in my heart of hearts, I have an awareness that their perspective is really going to help me. Do you see? So that's what, and you know, the universe is really perfect. So no one will ever call me that I cannot help. I mean, that's, the universe always sends people. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. How come I can, you know, I think to myself, that's crazy. How did I know what to say to that person? Well, that's the universe. It's all rigged, right? And people I cannot help, they don't even know I exist.
Right.
It works out great. You know,
I see. So kind of like you find the person who, you know, there's probably lots of people that do Akashic Records now, especially since you started the book since 2001. Right. So there are a lot of people who do Akashic Records. Yeah. You've been standing on that corner, honey, for a while. You've been standing.
Well, what year is it? 94. I've been working in the records since 94.
Wow.
I started teaching in 96.
Wow. Okay,
I've got the 3 books. I'm working on the 4th.
Yeah.
I earned a doctorate in spiritual studies. It's what do you call it? The concentration is Akashic Records for personal use. So I'm the first person on the planet. Now, how do you plan for that? You can't. First person on the planet to have a doctorate in Akashic Records for personal transformation.
Where did you get this doctorate from?
Emerson Theological.
Wow.
So I made up the program. What else would I do, right?
Wow, that's amazing.
Sometimes they're like that. But do you see what I'm saying? This is, so what happens? I know in my own experience, I know in the experience of many others, we start down this path and the light, like we know it's there, right? It seems dim, it's faint, it's whatever. But it's like, oh, there's something there. And as certainly I have allowed myself to follow the light, as I have allowed myself to be led, and have developed a relationship of trust. In this process, what has happened is far beyond my wildest dreams.
So tell me about the 4 books, just because that was your first baby. That was your 10-year-old baby.
So here's how this goes. The first book is about the method, right? And this is, so it's, you know, the organization of the records, the players, what you can expect, what you can't.
It's like a tour guide of the, like when I did it, it was super helpful because you don't know.
And then, because we don't know, because we are the first generation in history that have the opportunity to work in the Akashic Records. Secular people like you and I, it used to just be for mystics and scholars and the like. Okay, so the second half of the book is covers 3 topics. One is energy healing in the records, resolving past life issues, and finding freedom from unwanted ancestral patterns. So it's really, this is the foundation piece, right? Then the next piece, so the method is set. Well, I know in my own journey, I'm thinking, oh, I'm done. We've got the method all hammered out. Well, little did I know. The next piece, who knew? The next piece was my second book, which is personal healing, right? And that book, this book, oh my God, it breaks my heart. Here, I'll show you. Dun, dun, dun.
Yay.
It's Healing Through the Akashic Records. How about these covers? Are awesome.
I know, they're beautiful.
Healing Through the Akashic Records. Using the power of your sacred wounds to discover your soul's perfection. What was interesting with this book is, as I got to this part of my life, I thought, I've got the method, right? But I began to see that there were issues in my life. You know, I had a very creative son. He was a little boy at the time. He's still creative, by the way, of course. You know, but anyway, so between him and my father was dying, and I mean, it was a tough time, right? And I had a lot of ideals. I had great ideals for myself. I could live up to none of them. But I had those ideas like, today I'm going to be a presence of light and love.
Right.
And I would go out there and I'd be crying or yelling. I mean, it was just not good. And do you know what I mean? Okay, so here's what happened. This just really blew my mind. I would go into my records and I'm like, I did it again. I yelled at my partner. Whatever. Got into a fight with somebody, all this stuff. And I would go into my records, and here's what I would get. Well, of course, honey, you're tired, you're stressed. I'm like, why are you being so nice to me? See, I'm not from that. I'm like, right. Something must be terribly wrong.
Right.
And so after months of this, what I noticed was that I was being led into a process that actually I describe in the book. And it is the process, it's the spiritual practice of unconditional self-love, which is really a heavy, it's terrifying, right? Unconditional love, right? But it really is like, how do I love myself even though I lost my temper? How do I love myself? How can I have any mercy on myself when I'm not the daughter I wanted to be? Right? When I'm not the sister, I'm not the neighbor, always falling short. And what I found in the record was this startling and staggering reservoir of unconditional love, but not smarmy. I'm very, I'm like, I don't like smarm, and I'm like, I don't know, Do you know what I'm saying?
I do.
But it was real. It was like, oh.
Yeah.
And what I began to learn was that the more I could accept, now that doesn't mean approve, big difference between acceptance and approval, but the more I could say, oh, this really is my best today. I wish it were better, but today it's my best. What began to happen is that my behavior improved, right? And my standards became less fantastic, right? I began to see, oh, if I could be just a little bit kinder and more generous today, that was going to be good. So because the reality is, I wasn't just living my own, in my own bubble. The fact of the matter is that there is a place where my human self was interacting with a very imperfect world. So, so how do we do this, right? How do we do this? And that's what the second book is all about.
Wait, and before we dive into the third and fourth, which I definitely want to hear about, and me and just, you were so gracious to give me my own Akashic Record reading, which I had never done before, and I loved. It was fascinating. Of course, it was spot on. And so we were talking about various wounds, and one of them is for me, it was like feeling safe. And I'm only bringing it up because, hey, if you're listening to this program, you're a little bit different.
Right. You've already crossed the line,
You've already crossed the line. You step off of the normal path, and you've gone under some other path.
That's right.
Okay, and so, and I feel like, I've done a lot of past life regressions, and a lot of the things that you've mentioned I've seen or heard or have gone through in past life regressions, but many in which you actually pointed out my reading where I was a leader of a political movement or a leader of some type of spiritual movement, and then, got hung, burned, buried alive, all those kinds of things, which are unfortunate. And those things I think, result now in my embodied soul experience as feeling not safe. And so probably a lot of the people who are listening have who knows what kind of experiences they've had, but not all of us, even if you just take the current political environment on both sides, right? People don't feel safe. So how can you be in and of this world, in the human experience, and still feel the dichotomy of like, I want to love and feel compassion and be open. But for me, like literally my first chakra just like, it's like, I was saying that I feel like light pouring down this way, and earth energy like a little drip coffee, just like a small little stream coming up. And so that's an example of a sacral wound, as and how. And you had talked about your own, where you're going out and you're like hoping to be like all loving and compassionate, and you're like yelling at someone. So, so how can I view that as a point of power, as a pathway to peace, or actually go to a place of transcendence with this?
Okay, so here's the question, the opportunity, really. You know, working in the record, we have an opportunity to transform our relationship with wounding life experiences, right? There's no such thing. You cannot erase the past. I mean, right. But from a record standpoint, the reason we have these is because they're the opportunity is, how do I love myself even though I don't feel safe? Mm-hmm. How do I respect myself even though I don't live up to my potential? Mm-hmm. See, we are all in the process of learning how to love ourselves, to know and love ourselves as we are known and loved by the divine. Mm. And this takes many lifetimes. This is what, from an Akashic perspective, this is what reincarnation is all about. Mm. That we move from lifetime to lifetime, discovering how to love ourselves in any and all circumstances. Okay. So that's really like the overall. So we come to love ourselves just the way we are, both as infinite, eternal, immortal beings, all true, and at the same time, mere mortals, flawed, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's all true, and how do we love ourselves anyway, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the great opportunity of looking at our wounds, so that we can put the hatchet down and stop, bludgeoning ourselves over a perceived mistake. Mm-hmm. Because here's the other thing, from a record standpoint, there are a few assumptions in the records, and one is, it's interesting. I used to hear people say, "Oh, everyone's always doing their best." I go, "Well, what is that? That's crazy." But no, people could be doing better. I could be doing better. Mm-hmm. But here's the flip side of that. This blew my mind. Here's the question. Or here's how I came to really get this, is that there is not one person on the planet who wakes up in the morning and says, "Today I'm going to be a lousy human being. Right. I'm going to do things that are terrible." No. Even people like in this, do you see? And so the idea is, and even when we do things, that are creepy or rotten or whatever the heck we do, I mean, it's all over. I mean, turn on the news, you scare the heck out of yourself. Mm-hmm. But, what we do, we see lots of bad behavior. But the only reason people engage in bad behavior is because there is an understanding within them that this behavior is going to make them feel loved. Yeah. So I look at the political situation. I don't care. I do care, but
whoever is in power at the time, Democrat or Republican, right?
We look and we say, I know the guy sitting in that chair is there. If we were to talk to him, he would say, "I'm doing this because it's good for everybody. It's good for me. It's good for everybody." He really believes that. Mm-hmm. He really believes that. Mm-hmm. He also everything is being used. Okay, did we lose our volume?
No, we're good.
We're good. Okay, because I just got a notice. All right, anyway. So the long and short of it is that everyone, even if we completely disagree with them, I mean, the great tyrants and bad boys of history, each and every one of them woke up and said, "I'm going to do this, and I'm going to make my country the best, whatever country it is." Now, we may have to exterminate a few million people, but you know what? It's a good idea. Right. So we're going to get rid of all the bad people, right? So these are, right, and so we extend mercy at the level of motive, we don't say the bad behavior didn't happen. It happens all the time.
Right. But they were doing it out of a place of seeking to be loved, I think is what you said
Seeking
before.
to be loved. Because every choice we make is an attempt to stimulate and hopefully unleash the unlimited love within.
I see. So if instead of saying, okay, so here's my fatal flaw,
Okay.
one of many my fatal flaws is, and I'm working myself away, gradually working myself from this, but if I accomplish X, Y, and Z, then, people will love me, right? This is the kind of
Right.
thing that happens to a lot of people out there. It's like
Yes.
accomplishment, resume, power, money, whatever. If I
Right.
do these achievements, then finally I will be loved. But if you understand that the root cause is love, then you can give that to yourself all the time. Like, oh, honey, you didn't get that raise. It's okay, it's okay. Well, another time will come, or something where you give yourself the love, which is the thing that you're looking for in the beginning. Is that
Well,
what you meant by that, love?
it's a little bit okay. Here's the thing.
Okay.
We can only have as much love. We only experience the degree of love that we find comfortable. So while, we may say, oh, I want unlimited love. Well, the fact is, unlimited love can make a person, if you're me, very nervous. So let's start with, so when I look back, I think, people say, oh, why was I in a relationship with that person? They were a thug, or they were this, or they were that. Well, the fact is, at that point in time, that was all the love that you could tolerate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's all there is to it. Otherwise, you'd have more love.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Okay, so if safety is the thing, so I have my sacred wound, it's about safety.
Right.
And when we went over my Akashic record, you'd say, so, be thankful that your body is like kind of tightening up when it feels unsafe. That's a natural thing, and love it. And the more I have a loving relationship with it, the more I will feel safe. Is that the whole idea of
Okay,
the
so
sacred wound?
yes, but see, here's the thing, is that, to say to love, okay, I'm going to love myself. And I know, like, what does that mean? Who knows what that means? But to really appreciate, like, wow, look at this. I don't even realize that I feel unsafe. And I'm doing so many things to protect myself. Wow. See, we are always loving ourselves. And we will only let ourselves have those experiences that we understand are good for us. Otherwise, we don't have them. So if I'm in a situation, I'm like, I don't know about this, something will happen. Working in the records, I've come to believe, this blew my mind. I used to believe in self-sabotage and obstacles. I don't believe in any of that. I think sabotage is the best idea I have to keep myself safe and to experience love.
It's a strategy.
It's a strategy.
Safe.
That's a great word. It's exactly. And the same thing with obstacles and blockages. Listen, the only reason we have them is because we need them. Calm down. And the only because here's the other thing. The only people who don't have obstacles and obstructions, they're dead. Just get up. Nobody, this is what we're doing here. Relax.
Right.
It's all right. It's all right. And it's like, the Akashic field, it's a field of energy, right? It's an energy field. It's a body of light. It's the connective tissue from the soul to the source, right? It actually keeps us connected while we're waking up to the fact that we're connected because we think we're separate. It's like, oh, the record holds us steady as we realize these things about ourselves.
Wait, so you actually pointed in this direction and you went like this. So what does that mean?
Okay, so here's the thing. The way, physically, right, the way I like to think of it is the record is a soul level dimension of consciousness, right?
Okay, yes.
Okay, great. In the physical correspondent, now listen, I'm certainly not a scientist. I am not a chakra expert. I'm none of that. But here's my understanding, is that the floor of the heart center, it's like a reflective surface. Yeah. It could be like mylar, it could be water, it could be, anyway, a mirror. Right. So that is the entryway to the soul. Okay? Now, the Akashic Record is the soul level dimension of consciousness. So it's living like its home base. I mean, it's everywhere, but its home base is at that level.
At your heart, then?
Below the heart.
Below the heart?
The floor of the heart. The floor of the heart.
Okay, so physically my heart is here. It's like below here?
Right below, not that much below, right? Okay. The floor of the heart.
Okay, so here is my heart, right here.
Yes, so you want to go down maybe, yeah.
Okay, how? Okay, yeah. This way?
There's plenty.
Okay.
Right across there.
Okay.
Right. Okay? And I can't jump up or I would
so this is like the floor of the heart.
Right there. If you think that's where okay? So, and listen, when we talk about bodies of energy, it's very hard to physically pin them down. So these are
just roughly speaking. Yes, I get it.
Okay? So, the soul, throughout our lifetimes, we are accumulating wisdom and knowledge, and we keep growing in love. And, we've all been around for a while now, and what happens is when we say the prayer, we say the pathway prayer, it activates, it gives us access to what's already and always been in there. Yeah? Now, here's the thing. The energy, it's like it emanates up from this layer.
Yeah.
Okay? It emanates up. But it's not just up dead through the center. It's through the whole self.
Okay, so it's up like this. Okay.
Up like this. And the source, if you want to think of the source as the horizon of light approximately 18 inches above the crown of the head.
Okay.
Like there's a horizon of light.
Okay.
Okay. The Akashic Record is the energetic connective tissue between the soul and the source.
Okay. So, because people talk about their Akasha body, and they literally have these different rings around it. But so the Akasha is the dimension, the energetic connection between your soul and spirit,
and the source.
And the source. Okay. Yeah. Is source different than spirit?
No, it's the same.
Okay. Okay. Got it. So when I'm accessing this. So it has an accumulation of everything that has happened in my past. It doesn't necessarily know about my future because that's always being kind of...
The future is always being revealed.
So that's not... So if I'm if I want you to be an oracle, not that.
It is not an oracle. This is not an oracle for divination. Listen, there are so many better ways to divine the future. Mm-hmm. See, the record, this is what I love about the record. The record really appreciates the fact that we are human beings and we have faculties and we can make decisions and we can do things. The record is not like, oh, nee, here you little darlings, let me spoon feed you truth. The record is, no. First of all, so there's a couple of things. This is it's lousy for fortune telling. It's a spiritual resource. It is not a superstitious resource. So we can't use it to manipulate people. We can try. Right? We cannot. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like
anytime I know someone who has like some spiritual whatever, whether it's Akashic Records or gems or whatever. I've talked to lots of different people, have different gateways. Everyone wants to use them for oracle, divination, controlling others.
No,
it's never about that.
Listen, if we could do that, human beings, we put somebody on the moon. I mean, we've done a lot of good things here as human beings. This business of controlling and manipulating others, just forget it. Go do something. It's just a waste of time. Right. If it made us happy, I would say, let's do it. But it doesn't. It will make us crazy and sick.
Okay, anyway. So you're going to this energetic level between...
So it's the zone in between. Okay, it's this energetic connective tissue connecting soul to source. Okay? Yes. It is also the intersecting zone. I mean, if we could, right, between heaven and earth.
Okay.
See, there is a place where heaven and earth meet, right? And they
Mm,
harmonize within us, right? Heaven and earth harmonizes within us, each in our own unique way as individuals,
mm,
right? And it also happens within the record, right?
mm-hmm.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
What's our question?
So no, so let's go
What
back
are we
to
talking
no, no,
about?
no. I wanted to ask this question. So here's where we've been so far. We've talked about the Akashic Records, the pathway prayer process, and we've talked about sacred wounds. And so we were talking about your sacred wound, which was about like wanting to hit certain type of ideal.
Oh,
My
I want it
sacred
to be
wound,
perfect.
right? And all of
See,
us can relate to this. Yeah.
I want it to be perfect. I desperately, and here was the error of my ways.
Right.
I really believed that if I managed well, I would be happy.
Right.
And I'm a pretty good manager.
Right.
It did not make me happy. Right?
It's
It made
control.
me
Managing is
it made me
control.
feel terrible because I thought, oh my God, I have everything I ever wanted and I'm miserable. What the heck is wrong with me?
Mm-hmm.
Because that really was not the path to, it just was, it is what it has limitations,
Yeah. So
right?
each of us has a sacred wound. Yours was about ideals. Mine was about safety. Sometimes it's about accomplishment. We're all seeking love.
We're
And
all
so,
seeking love in different ways. So, yeah, right. For some people, it's about their artistic expression. For some people, the issue, that they are crippled. They are unable to express their true self. And that is, that's agony. That is
mm-hmm,
a heck of a wound.
mm-hmm,
So we want to begin with, how do I love myself even though I am unable to express myself? And for anybody over, I say anybody over, I don't know, 60, this might be it. This might not change. Can I love myself if this is my best?
mm-hmm,
I may have this, perfectionism was really the bane of my existence for a long, long time.
mm-hmm.
And it was terrible because there is, first of all, it's elusive, right? And then working in the record, I came to find out that perfection is not the goal of spiritual awareness.
Mm.
That is not the goal. And it's not there for human beings. Who cares anyway? The only thing perfect is the soul and the divine. So let's, so the question, so the goal, right, the object of spiritual awakening and awareness is appreciation for our unique usefulness. Okay. There are ways in which you're useful that I'll never be useful. But that doesn't mean one of us is better than the other. It's to really appreciate this is my unique usefulness.
Mm-hmm.
This is what, so the idea is not just that we, get spiritual and clean the house and meditate and drink tea all day. The idea is that we live. Like, how can I let myself live and participate even though I'm not perfect?
Okay, so I'm going to give a couple of examples from my reading.
Please,
I'll see
go
if I
right
can.
ahead. Do it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, just so that you understand. I think so. People. So when
Right.
I
That's
did
cool.
a reading, the thing that you told me was that my spiritual, what is unique about me, about this specific year is it is a pivotal year. Then you talked about how like I have like
This
many
life.
this life, and I'm about kind of like many pots on the fire given at one time, and I'm like pedal
Ah,
to the metal. This is my unique specialness, and I'm very
yes.
curious. So those
Yes.
are things, curiosity, able to manifest things, something like pots on the fires. I've
Sure.
able to manifest things, and and that's empowering people, visionary. These are things that are examples of when one would get an Akashic record reading
Right.
about what is your unique thing that you're brought on earth to do. So they're kind of general, curious, able to execute on things, move forward on things, you know, I can't remember what the other ones are because, but those are examples of the kinds of things that we are uniquely. So I'm here on Earth, this life. These are things that I'm uniquely qualified to do, and it's about doing what with those things now. What you could
It's
you said our
about
spiritual
ha
yeah,
ha 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 ha.
yeah,
So it's about allowing ourselves to engage in these activities, right? So that because here's how this goes. These unique gifts, talents, and abilities, right, are the key. They stimulate, they activate, they ignite the infinite love within.
Ah, okay.
And so we can experience that love. We can express that love, and we can enjoy who we are.
Ah.
That's how that goes. And you have, everybody's got a particular, it's
Yeah,
like their own combination,
right,
right? Of these things, which is really fascinating.
right,
It's just fascinating.
right.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I'm just thinking, I have a friend who's an accountant.
yeah,
Now, I have to tell you, if I had to be an accountant, that just, first of all, it wouldn't happen.
right.
Right. It's just not going to happen. And you know what? She loves it.
Yeah.
And she talks about her job like it's the greatest thing. And here's the truth. The truth is, what she's doing an incredible service. She
Yeah.
really loves people, and she loves to help them with their numbers. And I'm like, you go. Because
Right.
I could live to be 300, and I cannot help people do that.
Right.
I mean,
It's not going to.
give me your checkbook.
It's not going to ignite love, the infinite love. It would ignite my infinite misery within.
Right? It's like, wow, what a crazy, perfect universe it is. I'm so
Yeah.
glad she's here.
But I love that if it's okay, so everyone has a different set of things. No one's better than the other. We're
Right.
all here to ignite our specific, unique combination of unique specialness. And
Gifts,
when we
talents,
do
abilities.
gifts and talents, you said, and then when we do that, we ignite the infinite love within, which then allows us to express love to others and
But
to
first,
ourselves.
first we experience it.
Okay, we
First we
experience.
experience it. Because, you can't give away what you don't have, right?
Mm,
So first we experience it like, listen, I'm working on a book right now. It's my 4th book. It's about manifesting, bringing your soul's purposes to life.
mm-hmm.
Now listen, I love working on this book. I love it. Drives me nuts. It's not easy, but I just love it. I lose time. It's like, this is just the greatest thing, right? And it involves a lot of things that I think I don't like, right? Like, oh, I'm in the library, I'm sitting there alone, it's quiet for hours on end, blah, blah, blah. But boy, when I'm there, it's heaven. It's heaven on earth, right? But see, we all have that. We all have that. And that is, so as it's happening, I mean, it's one of the keys to one of the ways we can tell something is our soul's purpose is we are, like, I am happy when I'm doing it, even though no one notices. No one's giving me a prize. No one cares.
Right. And actually, here's what's interesting about that example is you're happy, but there's like little miserable things like, oh, I can't, I have to be quiet here. There's no one to interact with, but I love it. Like it feels like heaven on earth. It's not like all pure perfection. It's not like I love everything. There's parts where it's like it's cold in the library. It smells weird in here. Right. But yeah. So which is, I think, actually important to remember because as we're moving, and it's always hard because, if you listen to enough of these spiritual shows, we're like, follow your heart, follow your heart. And the presumption is when you follow your heart, it's all going to be like puppy dogs, unicorns, and rainbows. No, sometimes, you're in the library by yourself, alone.
Right. But see, here's the thing. We're always manifesting. Always. It's what we do. It's what human beings do. But but for those of us who are like waking up, like, oh, wait a second here, we have a consciousness that we want to move in the direction of manifesting our preferences, and that's sometimes a little inconvenient, especially when the default has been to manifest a lot of what we don't want, right? And so it does. It takes effort. Part of living on this planet, yes, life can be easy. We can be in the flow. But part of living here is that it is physical and it requires physical exertion. I came to my office today. I had to move my body from my kitchen table, which is really paradise, right? And walk over to my office.
Right.
I couldn't.
Right. It's effort. There's an efforting involved.
This is not a moral issue. People have said to me, "What about these books? You just channel them." I don't do that. I really don't. Right? I get pieces of the material. I write about it. I road test it. I think about it. I work in I do a gazillion things before it ever hits the book. Right? I would be mortified. So there's work involved. But right. I don't know why we think work is bad. Work is great.
Right.
It's a wonderful thing.
And it just even in that example, you talked about perfectionism as being, your initial thing that was so hard for you. But in the example that you just used, the book benefits, all those books benefit from that perfectionism, because you can take your unique gift of perfectionism and turn them, sit in the library, read more books, road test the stuff. Who would do that? I can't even tell you the number of times I've read books where I'm like, so they're channeled. I'm like, well, how do you know this lands on people? How do you know this uniformly produces these results? They don't. So the fact that you do, we all benefit from your perfectionism.
Oh, that's good, because, channeling, and listen, I enjoy a good channel.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, that's not helpful to me. Do you understand?
Yes.
Anyway, it just, and I appreciate a lot of the channeled wisdom that's come through.
Yeah.
But see, I know that where I'm at as a human being is, wait a second, we have all this spiritual wisdom, and the planet is what it is, and I have to live here. How do I maintain my spiritual awareness while I live in this world? Mm-hmm. Okay, because I can't wait for the next life. I also have a lot of impatience and urgency, right?
Yeah. All right, so I have one final question before we close. So,
please, yes.
Striving for freedom. So we all strive for freedom. That was something that you saw on my record, but it seems to elude many of us. Can you explain what prevents us from enjoying the freedom we create?
Oh my God, this is a great question. This is such a great question.
Yeah, you gave it to me.
I'm like, God, that's a good question. Okay, so here's the thing with freedom. It is an ideal of all humans. It's especially in the last couple hundred years, personal freedom has become, 1,000 years ago, none of us, whatever, the state owns us or we belong to the land or something. Freedom was not even an option. But we have, but it is now, and it's very important. Mm-hmm. But here's the deal. Mm-hmm. We only allow ourselves to experience that which we deem beneficial. So, if in a prior lifetime, my freedom, me exercising my freedom, maybe to self-express, could have been political freedom, religious freedom, any kind of freedom. If that got me killed, and I don't, I'm going to be a little timid this time. Mm-hmm. If freedom looks dangerous to me, I'm not doing it. I will make the most loving thing I can do for myself is to make sure I have limited freedom. Until, and it only has to be 51%, right?
Right.
Until 51% of me recognizes that it is beneficial for me at this point in my evolution to have more freedom, that freedom is a good thing. Until I get there, I'm not going to have it. I don't care what I say. Mm-hmm. But the question is, can I love myself even though I am crippled in this area? Mm. See, because we live in a time, our minds are just, exploding with information. But our other vehicles, right, emotional, our bodies, it takes a little time to catch up.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Okay, so you're going to be coming to East West Bookstore.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
March 8th from 7 to 8:30.
Yes.
And March 9th from 10:30 to 5. And if people sign up for both, the Friday event is free.
It's free.
Yeah. So, and it's the 10th year anniversary of your book. What are you?
Yes.
Yes. So, first of all, I want to thank you, and then I want to I want to talk more about that thing for the video. I have the video and the radio, but for the video, I want to thank you so much. It's always so fun talking to you.
I know, we always have so much fun.
We could go on for hours, I have a feeling. If we could, we'd talk for hours and hours. Okay, so tell me a little bit about what you're going to be covering in East West Bookstore.
Well, all right. So the Friday night is really, it's an intro, right? Mm-hmm. And it's really illuminating the Akashic Record. Mm-hmm. There's been a real flood of information about the record that's out there, come out over the last 10 years. And like I said earlier, some of it is fabulous and some of it is just so hurtful. Mm. And so the purpose of the evening is to identify what the Akashic Record is, what it's not, what you can expect. A lot of people feel like failures because they can't seem to change themselves or someone else or and it's like, well, of course it's not. It's not even an option here.
Right.
So it's like, I want to shine Akashic light on the Akashic light.
Okay, good.
So that's Friday night. On Saturday, I'm very excited because I'll be teaching how to read your own Akashic Record.
Oh, fun. So that someone is going to experience, can actually real life experience.
That's right. It's not it's not a certification. It's a 1-day class, but I know anybody who attends, the universe will, give you the nudge to participate because it's time for you to do this, because you can do this, right? So, but here's what we'll be doing. We'll be learning about how the records are organized, right? Mm-hmm. About how to get in and out of the records, mm-hmm. how to navigate, what's actually going to move you forward. My goal is to prepare you to work in your own records so that after I'm gone, you will be able to really move forward. I really have this idea of launching you into a much deeper, more rich connection with your own soul. Mm. So we're not going to give you something you don't already have. What we're going to do is we're going to amplify what is really your birthright. Mm.
So I actually have the book, and after reading your first book, and as part of our first interview, had actually done the exercises, and I got a ton out of it. How is it different than going to just reading your book, seeing it live?
Coming to a live class is, informationally, it's pretty similar. Mm-hmm. But you get to ask me questions, and I'm the originator. So you can, and I'm here. So, you want to ask me, right?
Right.
I actually know about this. Okay?
Okay.
And I'm here to help. I just, so that's one thing. The other thing, though, is you get an experience of the energy. Mm. So you have a better sense of where you're going, right? And it also, what I know is that people who come to an in-person class are guided to attend because they have the ability to go into the record much deeper, much faster. Mm. Okay, everybody's going to get where they're going. So we're not worried about that. The question is, do you want this to take 18 months or would you like it to take a week? Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And energetically, there's something very powerful about allowing ourselves to be taught. To say, I don't know how to do this. Can you help me? It's like, boom. It opens us up to receive all the support that life has for us. And we move much more faster and with more grace and elegance. So.
If you want me to tell you a funny story of what happened when I read your thing, and I was doing a lot of the Akashic Records myself, and then someone said to me, do you know of a person to do Akashic Records? I said, yes, and I mentioned your name, and they said, no, I want someone local. And I was like, okay, and I said, no, I don't know anyone, because I really didn't at the time, because it wasn't really a popular thing, but of course I read your book, and I said, I can give it a try, but I don't really know, because this is something that I don't do as part of my living, but I've done it, I've accessed it, I have a code, and so they had me, so I wrote out, they had a series of questions, I then answered the questions, and they were like, their jaws dropped down, they're like, oh my God, this describes our situation exactly, oh my God, and they made huge life changes, and I was like, oh my God, it's kind of terrifying. But it's, and I also, you know, I don't even know if I sat on the corner for more than a day. Like I sat on the corner for like 10 minutes. I was like, I might as well try it. I'm pretty psychic. I should probably be able to do something. But it was
see,
pretty
you don't
incredible.
have to be psychic. This is not about psychic.
Yeah.
It is not about psychic.
Well, I was able to, whatever it was, the prayer, I was able to
Here's the
listen.
thing. I'll tell you what it was. Do you want to hear?
Yeah.
2 parts to this. You were willing, you had a sincere willingness to help.
Yeah, that's true.
And you took this person's needs and concerns very seriously. And because of that, you were graced with exactly what was required to help that person at that time. Mm. That's all that is. Mm-hmm. See, the posture, the energetic posture of service is one of the most powerful postures on the game board of life.
Mm. Right. I wasn't like, I'm here because I need I didn't charge. He's like, should I pay you? I'm like, no. I mean, I'm just here to help you. Like, don't do any of that.
That's what you were. And you were honest. See, this is like a lot of people when they're starting their practice, they're like, I'm going to do 20 readings a week. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm like, slow down. First of all, you need to be honest with people and say, I just learned how to do this.
Right.
And I will do my best to help you.
Yeah, that's exactly. I'm like, I'll give it a try. Do it.
But you see that your willingness to serve and your awareness that you personally don't have all the answers. None of us do. It's not a big deal. Nobody has all the answers. That opened you up so that the light could move through you in a way that was helpful to that person. And that is the magic of working in the records.
Yeah, I love it.
If there's magic, that's what it is.
All right. So folks can come March 8th and 9th to Seattle, East West Bookshop. They can sign up by going to East West Bookshop. And I'm so excited that you're coming to Seattle. I'm gonna try to make the event on the 9th. That will be really fun.
Yeah. Oh, I would love to see you. It'll be great. It'll be great. And anybody who comes, like if you see this pod, you see this show, tell me you saw this, and it's always good to know.
Yeah.
And I'll actually have some awareness of what you know. So, or I can ask you how it went. Anyway, but just please introduce yourself to me.
Yeah.
It's always, I really love to meet the people who are seeking and finding, and it's good.
Thank you so much.
It means so much to me that you're listening to the show. Would love your support in any way by giving me comments below, or to subscribe to the show, or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support. Love and blessings.